Scientific Research Institute NII-88 to conduct ballistic missile development. He also appointed Glushko chief designer of his own bureau, the OKB-456, which was charged with rocket engine development, a position he held until 1974. Glushko's OKB-456, later NPO Energomash, would later design the 35 metric ton, 340 kilonewton thrust RD-101 engine that powered Korolev's early rockets. Glushko also built the powerful RD-170, RD-180 family of liquid propellant engines that have been used on many rockets around the world to the present day. The work of both Korolev and Glushko was central to the post-World War II ballistic missile race between the United States and the Soviet Union, as well as the space race to the moon. Both played critical roles not only in making the dreams of spaceflight real, but also in the nuclear terror made possible by intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, between the 1960s and the 1980s. Korolev had 200 German employees of the Mittelwerk V2 factory rounded up on the night of October 22 to 23, 1946, and sent to relatively comfortable living quarters at Lake Sielager between Moscow and Leningrad. The Germans had little direct contact with Korolev's engineers. They assisted in launching a few V2s from Kapustin Yar. Mainly, they answered written questions and were finally returned to East Germany between 1950 and 1954. Korolev copied the V2 design with Soviet components for his R-1 missile. These evolved during the 1950s into the successively more capable R-2 and R-5 missiles. Korolev received approval for development of the R-7 on May 20, 1954, although preliminary ICBM development was approved while Stalin was alive on February 13, 1953. Again, Glushko built the engines that powered this missile. The Soviets successfully tested the R-7 on August 21, 1957, a two-stage ICBM with a maximum payload of 5.4 tons, sufficient to carry a Soviet atomic warhead 3,500 miles. While it was the world's first ICBM, the R-7 was an impractical weapon. It required enormous launch pads, complex assembly and launching procedures, cryogenic liquid oxygen oxidizer, and radio-controlled terminal guidance. Moreover, its range was impressive, but sufficient to reach only the far northern United States from a launch site in the Soviet Union. As a result, the Red Army deployed it as a weapon at only 8 launch pads in Tyuratam and Plesetsk in the northern USSR. Development of more practical successors, such as Korolev's R-9, did not begin until May 13, 1959. The R-7 served well as an early space exploration vehicle, however, and it launched both Sputnik 1 and 2 into orbit in 1957 and served as the first human space launcher for Yuri Gagarin and German Titov in 1961. As much as anyone, Korolev led the Soviet effort to reach the moon with the sometime support of Glushko and the strong rivalry he provided. The death of Korolev in a botched medical procedure in early 1966 may have done more to retard the Soviet moon program than any other single setback. It certainly left Glushko in a position to assume leadership in the Soviet space program. An American counterpart to the frenemy relationship of Korolev-Glushko may be found in the careers of Robert R. Gilruth and Werner von Braun. During the latter part of World War II, leaders of the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, the predecessor to NASA, had become interested in the possibilities of high-speed guided missiles and the future of spaceflight. NACA officials created at the end of World War II the Pilotless Aircraft Research Division, PARD, under the leadership of Gilruth, then a young and promising engineer at the Langley Memorial Aeronautical Laboratory in Tidewater, Virginia. Gilruth established Wallops Island near the Virginia shore as a test facility under the control of Langley on July 4, 1945. From this site, the NACA launched between 1947 and 1949 more than 300 rockets of all sizes and types, leading to the publication of its first technical report on rocketry, Aerodynamic Problems of Guided Missiles, in 1947. From this, Gilruth and Pard filled in the gap.